Well, hello, ALBW, wherever you are, and it's great to see you. And furthermore, it is really great to be seen. And how nice to open with that beautiful and highly appropriate new ballad from O'Hooley and Tito, the Ballad of Anne and Anne. It's wonderful to listen to that as we get ready for ALBW to carry us all home to Halifax, where we found such a great home last year as a community. Before I get started, I want to tell you, I was there last week, and I can't tell you how excited everybody is about seeing us next spring. They had nothing but great words to say about the people that they met and the graciousness with which everyone interacted. So it's really excited about that. They're really excited about that. I want to say, the Calderdale, I want to say before I get started here that it was really wonderful to be in Halifax and to see Rachel Lappin, of course, who's such a great help to our team, Helen Whitbread, Joe Liddington, David Glover, Ian Philp, Bob C. Robinson, Andy Barraclough, Chris Harris, and Andy Barber over at the Minster. It was just terrific to see everybody. So, and the other person that I was really happy to talk to is Bob C. Robinson, who is heading up the fabulous Calderdale Council team, who's working so hard to create some truly exceptional events. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that in a minute. But their community is nearly as excited as ours. So we have a lot to get through this morning. I'm going to say right off the bat that I'm trying to stick to the highlights because I'd be here until Sunday if I was going to tell you everything. So at least I'm going to give you an overview of it. So let's get a few items of housekeeping out of the way first. The event guide, the 2023 event guide, will be available at www.albweek.com right after the show. So you can download it. You can look through the whole thing, the ticket worksheet, the instructions, how to use it, the maps, the whole deal. So make sure you do that. You're going to see a few TBDs, as in to be determined, in the guide. Not a lot of them, but we're still working on doing a few things. For one thing, we're hosting daily happy hours, but we haven't determined where those are going to be yet. So you'll see a couple of those here and there. And we'll add those locations as we confirm them. So not to worry. Ticketing. This year, we're using Eventbrite. We really wanted to go back to the Victoria Theatre, but this is their really busy season, so it's difficult for them to handle the work right now. But most important, tickets go on sale on Thursday, December 22nd at noon Eastern Standard and 5 GMT. So there will be a ticket link in the event guide all over the place, and it's a live link, so you can just click on it. And we'll post another one at ALBW chat as well as the ALBW page, the Ann Lister Birthday Week page, because we do have two places for you to see us. Okay, the event guide. We've reorganized it for this year. It's going to be a lot easier for you to use. Each day has a listing of all the events, including the free workshops. So you'll be able to see everything that's happening on that day all at the same time. And we've also added a column for Calderdale. So while we will not have all of their events on there, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, you'll have most of the primary ones. So not to worry. Their events will be coming out a little later on. As I said, we'll get to that. The other thing I want you to know is we heard you loud and clear when you said you wanted more community time and space. So for those of you who did come to ALBW last year or this year in 2022, the K-Gill rooms where we hold our free workshops are going to be open every morning from 10 until 1 o'clock. We'll have coffee and tea in there. It'll give you an opportunity to come in and meet up with your friends. Please don't be nervous if you're a little bit shy. We will have staff in there to help start some conversations and get things moving. So our greatest hope and our greatest wish is that everybody that comes, especially the new folks, feel as if they're part of the community, because that's really what makes ALBW special. So not to worry. But we do need you to check in at ALBW Central. That came up a little bit last year. We had somebody who there was somebody from home that was trying to get a hold of them. They managed to get a hold of us, but we had no idea because she had bought, one or two tickets. And we didn't know she was there, so we couldn't get a hold of her. So please come to ALBW Central. And besides, when you come, you get your fabulous ALBW lanyard. Lots of great things to put on it for your souvenirs. So make sure you check in. And I'll be there this year to say hello to you. So I'm happy about that. Okay, moving on. As I said, Calderdale, we've added a column for the Calderdale events right on the day at a glance. So you'll be able to see what's going on at Calderdale. And keep in mind, this is a partial listing. Calderdale is still completing some of their other items. But when they do get finished with that, eventually there will be another brochure. I won't tell you it's going to be exactly like this, but very similar to this, in which all their events are listed. But this will give you a head start on some of the really important ones that they've already given us, so you don't feel like you're missing out on something. But be aware, those tickets are not available at ALBW. If you are going to a Calderdale event, you'll follow the link that's in the guide, and that will tell you where to go to buy tickets. There's a general announcement about that. We'll tell you where to go to buy the tickets. But I want to tell you about one thing that they have organized. For Friday night, they've organized a dance in Todmorden. It's the Ann Lister Ball. Jennifer, if you've got that link, there we go. It's the Ann Lister Ball. It's an Ann Lister themed ball with music provided by the Pemberley Players. Experience is not required, as all dances will be called. A practice session for beginners is available in the ballroom from 2 to 4, and that's included in the ticket price. Also included in the ticket price is a cold buffet, including vegetarian and vegan options. Water will be provided, and a bar will be available for you to purchase drinks. The dress code is period dress 1790 to 1840, or your own take on it. And I have to tell you, the place that they're holding it in, the Todmorden Town Hall, is absolutely gorgeous. Getting to Todmorden is really simple. It's a really quick little train ride. So we can talk more about that at ALBW. If you're planning on going, we'll help you figure out how to get to the train and all the rest of that. But well worth taking a look at, so that you'll see that in the guide. Now, let's move right on to the ALBW events, because that's really exciting. This year, we've done something a little bit different. We have added a pre-tour and a post-tour to that. ALBW itself in Halifax will run from March 29th until April 3rd, through April 3rd, which, of course, is Ann's birthday. That's a really important day. But prior to that, starting the weekend before, the first thing we're doing is we have a London tour ready to go. Very excited about that. If you, let's see, Jennifer, if you can put image 3 up, that would be great. We have a London tour. You're going to have a walking tour that's been developed by Gemma Jacobs and Les Brown that will take you on a full walking tour of Ann Lister's London. It's not going to cover all of Ann Lister's London, but it's enough to get you through in a reasonable time in a day. And for all the times I've been in London, I've wandered around looking for addresses that I found in the diary, et cetera, and this will give you a chance to actually get it done. You will also have a tour on the second day led by a Blue Badge guide that's a London tour. So that person will be showing you all of the highlights of London. Obviously, I believe there's an option for a dinner cruise, and you'll be staying at a very centrally located hotel in London, right near Covent Garden. There is a dinner the first night. You'll have plenty of time to get out on your own. And then once we're done on Wednesday, well, anyway, you can look in the guide. We have a coach that's going to take you up to Halifax, and we'll take you back down to London at the end of the event. So if you're flying into London, so you can do this, you can make your reservation on the way out. just as an aside, I usually do fly in and out of London because there's so many flights every day that go there. You don't have to worry about something getting canceled. I love Manchester, but my airline only has one flight a day. So keep that in mind. With that trip, we will also be offering a round trip coach opportunity, even if you aren't going to the event. We have a 47-seat coach. If depending on the number of people who sign up, and we've already had, I think it's 25 people who signed up for the event. Even if you haven't signed up for that event, you can sign up for the option to just take the coach up with the community and then return down to London at the end of the event, again, with the community. So take a look at that in the event guide. It's right up front. The other thing we have is we have a Lake District tour. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I just got a note from my producer. Jen, they should have been attached to the email last night if you can take a look for that. In any case, the second trip that we have is we have a tour to the Lake District. And that's the day after. That's the Tuesday after ALBW ends. Once again, it'll be Rachel Whitbread and Claire from Her on a Hill. They're going to be doing that tour. It's a one-day tour. You go up and back. You'll have a really wonderful experience of the different sites that you'd like to see up in the Lake District. So that's very exciting. Very happy about that. And then let's see. That's Lake District and London. Great. Now let's talk about the rest of the evening events. On the first night, on Wednesday, we know that some people who are getting in are going to be jet lagging a little bit, may have not come early, even though, by the way, Calderdale is running their events starting on Monday. So if you do want to come in early, you'll have something to do during those days. On the first night, on Wednesday, there isn't a specific event at the Minster, et cetera. It will be at Mix and Mingle at the Gin Lane. For those of you who were here last year, that's the old Alibi. It's got new ownership now. So it'll be just a nice mix and mingle on night one. On night two, however, we'll be doing our actual kickoff in the Minster, and I'm really excited about this. I'm calling it Loyalty and Royalty. And the intent of that night is to celebrate our community being back home in Halifax, but to also honor the people who got us there. So we'll have Jill and Helena. I'll be talking to them, and we'll be talking about how Ann Lister has changed their lives, as well as how it's changed ours. So it's meant to be a back and forth discussion, and a big thank you to those folks, and an exciting way to kick off the week. And I can tell you, I can't wait to get there. Cannot wait to get into the Minster that first night, as you can imagine. So Friday evening, from 5:30 to 7, we have a ticketed drinks reception for the Ann Lister Society. You do not have to have been part of the Ann Lister Society, which we'll talk about, event during ALBW to come to this, but you may want to come. It'll be the co-founders of the Ann Lister Society, myself, Lori Shannon, and the fabulous Sally Wainwright. So sign up for that one, get a chance to say hello and thank you to Sally, and we're delighted that she's going to be joining us. On Friday night, we are bringing back the fabulous Murder Mystery Improv with Kate McCabe and her troupe. Lots of fun. That's, I believe that's going to be, it's in the Kegel rooms, right. So something fun to do on Friday night. Saturday night, Saturday night in the Minster is O'Hooley and Tito. Now, this is not an ALBW event. You're going to be getting your tickets through the site that O'Hooley and Tito use, and we'll have a link for you for that. But the Minster holds, 500-600 people with everybody crowded in, so it'll be a nice atmosphere. The sound in there is terrific. So something to do. Now, just so you know, we know many of you have seen O'Hooley and Tito a few times. And as much as I'm excited about them being there and being in the Minster to do it, just so you know, we are considering something fun, something very casual and informal for the community. If you'd like to do something other than that night, we want to make sure everybody's taken care of on a Saturday night. Now, Sunday night, it's the film festival. And this year we have a great lineup. The main event is our very own Esther Newton in the documentary that's actually winning awards all over the place called Esther Newton Made Me Gay. So very much looking forward to seeing that and having everybody in the room. That's the main event, but we also have a couple of things leading in. Christine Sanders and her group are going to be performing their spoken poem Women prior to that event. And we also have a video from Gemma Jacobs, about 30 to 40 minutes in length, that'll be the warm-up for the full movie. And that covers how Gentleman Jack, what the effect that Gentleman Jack and this whole experience has had on all of our lives. So I saw her while I was in Halifax, and I'm really impressed with what she's doing. Now, moving on. Oh, right. And you know that was their ballad, Julian Tito's new ballad. Now, Monday night is our big dance party. That's going to be our farewell. It is a dress-up event. If you want to bring your Ann Lister, Ann Walker duds, this is the night to do it. We'll have DJ Mandy from Todd Morton again. We have a few other things up our sleeves for this one. So I absolutely would love to see you all there so that we can celebrate what we've done over the week, say goodbye to new friends and old, and make plans for next year. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the walking tours that we're going to have available. We'll have walking tours of town again. There's 3 different ones. There's the fabulous tour that Rachel Whitbread, Helena's daughter, gives of Halifax. Then we also have David Glover's tour of Ann Lister's Halifax, also wonderful. And then we have a new one this year that features the buildings that Anne would have seen in her time. So as you're touring around Halifax, it's important to remember that much of what you see in Halifax is actually more Victorian than it is Anne's time. But there are several buildings there that Anne was very familiar with, other than the Minster, obviously, and the Peace Hall, that you'll get a chance to see up close and personal. So that's that walk. Now, we're also doing coach tours again. And the first one we have, I'm really excited. We have put together a very special coach tour that takes you up to Shibden Hall. We will have Shibden Hall to ourselves during that time period. We will have guides that are that will be stationed with groups along the way to explain each and every room to you, so you're not just kind of walking in there cold and wondering what all of this is about, which is very exciting. You will also have the opportunity in this tour to get up to the library. As most of you know, that library was added on to Shibden Hall prior to the time that they went to Russia. Now, originally, many people thought that Anne had never gotten a chance to see it or use it, and that the construction was still happening before, after she had left. But that's not true. It was finished prior to them leaving for Russia, so she was able to be in there and to use it. And you will get an opportunity to go up there and see it. This is not something that's open to the general public, so you probably are going to want to put that on your list. Once you leave the hall, there's also an outdoor tour that one of our guides from Calderdale Heritage Walks will take you around the outside of Shibden Hall and explain the various parts in Connery Woods, et cetera, to give you a really full view of that. And you'll also have the opportunity to walk up to Walker Pit and see that lonely Gothic tower that stands there as a sentinel, as an honorific from Ann Lister to Ann Walker for helping her sink that coal pit. So, and it's really worth seeing it. I happened to stumble across it with my friend Sarah Bruton, who took me up there in the late evening. And at a time when the sun was still shining in England at 10 o'clock at night because of the summer hours. But oh, what a view of it. Really amazing, very touching. Also, we have 2 York tours this year. We have one that will take you to Fairfax House, which was used as a shooting location for Gentleman Jack. And we will also take you over to the York Minster, which Anne Lister gushed over many times in her diary about how it was more beautiful than anything she had seen, Notre Dame included. So that tour will focus on those 2 events, but you will still have time to walk the couple of blocks up to Holy Trinity Goodrham Gate, where they took their vows. And you'll have some time to walk around that part of York that was familiar to Anne. The second tour, which happens later in the week, is the tour that we had last year that focused specifically on Anne Lister. That one is going to be with the same guide that you had last year. And we had, rave reviews about Sarah, just how knowledgeable she was, how great she was at getting you around, answering all your questions. So we're very excited about that as well. And of course, the coach is included. We leave from Halifax and you get the return trip as well. So happy about that. We also have, once again, we have a coach tour to Hebden Bridge. We're focusing on Hebden Bridge with one little detour up the hill to Heptonstall to see Sylvia Plath's grave. But this will give you an opportunity to get over to Hebden Bridge. There'll be a short guided tour, and then you'll also have time to shops, restaurants, have lunch, and all that good stuff. And Hebden Bridge, if you haven't been there, is adorable. What a great place. And it is also the center of the lesbian community, quite frankly, in the UK. So very gay friendly. You'll feel right at home. Finally, we're going to do the Haworth tour again, so you can visit the Bronte parsonage. And that is another really interesting tour. Special points to you if you take the time to watch Sally Wainwright's amazing film about the Brontes called To Walk Invisible. It's spectacular, just something very different from other Sally series, but so well worth watching. Now let's talk a little bit about talks. So for talks, we have Helena Whitbread is going to be talking about Eliza Rain this year, which is wonderful. She's going to be talking about the period of time in which Eliza Rain came to town, lived in Halifax, spent a lot of time with the Listers, and basically sort of became sort of a family member. And you'll get to hear from Helena about how all that happened, and of course what the eventual outcome of it was. But who doesn't want to sit and listen to Helena Whitbread, right? Like everybody's grandmother. Love her dearly. Hi, Helena. David Glover is going to be doing a special talk at Square Chapel called The Long Journey Home, and he's going to be focusing in on what happened after Anne's death in Russia, what it took to get the coffin back. He'll be depending a little bit on some of Diane from In Search of Anne Walker, Diane Halford, some of her research as well. But you'll get to hear the whole story of what actually happened about getting Anne home. And that just keeps becoming clearer and clearer, thanks so much to the research that's been done since the time that Gentleman Jack came out. There's all sorts of myths that are being busted everywhere. Let's see here. We will also have those 2 talks. Once again, we have walking tours by Calderdale Heritage Walks. Those are also going to be on our ALBW event guide, and those you do purchase through us. So the Calderdale Heritage Walk folks do a really wonderful job in all the different places that they show you in the Calderdale area. Very knowledgeable, really interesting. Please do sign up for it. All those walks are all pretty much a limited capacity. So if you want to get involved with any of those, make sure you sign up for them right away, because they do sell out very quickly. And Jill Liddington has a walk in there. So if you'd like to spend some time with Jill, seeing that part of Calderdale that she knows so well. Make sure that you look for that one. Jill is also going to be doing a book signing, and here's the big news. Jill has a new book coming out. Jill's new book, As Good as a Marriage, covers the years after Anne and Anne took their vows together at Goodrum Gate. And she explores what really was going on between the two of them during their convivial evenings, sipping Madeira, etc. And talking a lot about really how these two women felt about each other, all the questions that have always come up about that time in their lives. It does cover a lot of Anne's business dealings. So very much looking forward to that. You're going to hear a little bit more about the book and Jill Liddington in just a minute, because we're actually doing 2 events surrounding that book. You'll hear about that in a second. Now, we also have the Ann Lister Society joining us again. And that will be held at Square Chapel. Lori Shannon, of course, is heading that up. Once again, we'll have, it appears that we're going to have, once again, 20 papers that'll be presented during that time period. I know that last year people said that they were absolutely astounded by the quality of what they were hearing in these papers. So if you're a true Ann Lister history person, definitely look for that event. Those are 2 separate tickets. It happens all day Friday. And then it also happens for a little more than a half a day on Saturday, but they are 2 separate tickets. So it does give people an opportunity to, if they're not interested in the second day or the first, et cetera, other people can get in, because it is limited seating. We only have 80 seats for this. So please make sure you take a look at that. As I explained before, on Friday night, we have a ticketed reception with Lori, myself, and the fabulous Sally Wainwright. Very much looking forward to that. Let's see, there was something else I wanted to tell you about the Ann Lister Society. It'll pop back into my head in a second. We also are honoring Ann Walker with her own day once again. On that day, we'll be covering very Ann Walker specific things with, we'll be repeating Ian Phillips' wonderful Lightcliff coach tours, as well as his walking tour that takes you all through Lightcliff, shows you the places where Anne lived. You'll get to see Lydgate House, where Anne and Anne actually courted. They were not courting at Crow Nest, and most of you know that, but people who are new to Gentleman Jack, et cetera, may not know that, and you're going to get to find out. You'll also make it to the Tower and to the cemetery where Ann Walker is buried. You can pay your respects at the grave, leave some flowers, whatever you'd like to do. The Tower will be open. You'll get inside, and you'll be able to see the memorial to Ann Walker, which has been restored. Saw it this week. It's absolutely beautiful. You can actually read it now, which is quite wonderful. It's down, for those of you who've been in before, that's been moved down closer to the door because of the way that it was mounted. It's really heavy as it was mounted on a piece of stone. So looks gorgeous though. You know, you'll want to see that. Again, we have 2 workshops with In Search of Ann Walker on Ann Walker Day. And plus we're doing a author's workshop with Rebecca Batley, who's done a new book called The Life and Death of Gentleman Jack's wife, Ann Walker. I got a chance to talk to Rebecca last week at length, and it's amazing what she knows. She's actually been studying Ann Walker since way back at the time when Maxine Peake's movie was released. She's obviously been very impressed with the things that have come up from Diane and Halford, and she's incorporated that into the book as well. So that's going to be a great read. That book, I think, is available sometime in January. You can look it up on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever bookstore you like to work with. It's Rebecca Batley, Batley. So we were supposed to have an image of the book up here, but something got lost in translation, so it's not a problem. David Glover is going to be repeating his Minster tour. And if you really have an interest in who Ann Lister was, who she knew in town, and what her relationships were with those people, this tour is definitely the tour you should take. David Glover knows everything that you need to know about the people in the Minster and how they were connected to Anne. I did that tour the very first time that I went to Halifax, and I really felt like I was transported on that. So, do take a look for that. We're offering it 3 different times, so you'll be able to get to it. The Sunday, we have this is another special thing. On Sunday, we're offering a Sunday roast, again at Gin Lane. This will be in the salon where the Giuseppe Cortese plaster ceilings are absolutely glorious. Anne would have known those very well because Gin Lane is the site of Rawson's Bank, where Anne and Christopher Rawson did their business together. So she's very familiar with that. Now, on the Sunday roast, which is a traditional meal on Sundays in the UK, we have 3 different time slots. You will need to make your reservations early, and we'll be coming up with a sign-up sheet for you so that we can make sure that we let Gin Lane know how many people are expected, because if we don't get reservations, we may lose some of those slots. So more to come on that. I'm going to do it. I love a nice Sunday roast. So the other workshops. Once again, we have a Code Breakers workshop. If you're interested in how it works, want to know more about it, how you can do it yourself, this is the place to come. I have never met a more generous group of people in the Ann Lister community than the Code Breakers. They are phenomenal. The work that they have done that actually benefits every single one of us that are interested in Ann Lister has been phenomenal. So bring your questions. They're happy to answer. We also have a great workshop by Kelly Greiner and her team from the Save Gentleman Jack social media world. They're going to be talking about what they've done so far to get Gentleman Jack back on the air, but talking about social media in general, how it operates, how you can be involved with the kinds of things that you want to do, and most of all, how you can help. Now, I know this begs the question, what's happening with Gentleman Jack? Gentleman Jack is not dead. It is still alive. What I can tell you is one of the most exciting things that we have going on is a person who is busy trying to raise funds to get Gentleman Jack filmed. And this is a person with very deep ties in funding in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. She's set up something that's really quite phenomenal. And we're hoping that not only will we see the return of Gentleman Jack through that funding, but that we also see more LGBTQI content on a streaming platform. So that's exciting. So Gentleman Jack's not dead. Please make sure that you help the Save Gentleman Jack team with your tweets, etc. Because they are getting noticed. As I've told you before, they're definitely getting noticed. The most important thing the people behind Gentleman Jack need to know is that there's still an audience out there for it. That's how you can tell them, okay? We also have another workshop this year with Bold Strokes Books, one of the best-known publishers of non-gender conforming literature. They're going to be doing a workshop on that with 5 of their authors. So I know we have a lot of fanfic people out here, and we certainly also have people who are interested in the kinds of books that Bold Stroke has been so good about putting out for so long. So please do make sure to sign up for that, because we're really happy to have them here. They'll have 5 of their authors here willing to answer questions, etc. As I said before, Jill Liddington will be doing a book signing of her new book. So that's one of the workshops earlier in the week. And one of the other workshops that we're going to be doing that I personally am very happy to be taking a part in is where in the Minster is Ann Lister? Some of you may know that I've been working on this project now for almost 3 years, nearly 4 years, actually. We have done many scans of the Minster to try and find out where she is. But during the fall of that would have been 2021, which was the last time I was there before I had to miss out on the year in 2022, we actually found some documents that have not been available to the public before, and one of them has the Rosetta Stone in it. You'll be hearing more about that at my workshop, which I'll have Andy Bearclough there as well, that fabulous guy who I just adore, the stonemason who was working on the renovation in 2000, where the remnants of Anne's stones were uncovered. He found them underneath the pew. So great guy. He's been working with me right along on this search. And we're going to be talking about what we found and why we feel pretty good about knowing where she is now. Would you like to be a part of an ALBW Live? Jill Liddington and I are actually sitting down on, can't remember if it's Sunday or Monday, but you'll see it in the guide. Jill and I are going to be sitting down and talking about her new book. We're going to be going in depth about what the book's about, what the impact of the book is on the community. Just a really great opportunity for you to sit in the audience as we film it and ask your questions. For those of you who are tuning in on ALBW Live and will not be in Halifax, that event will be filmed. And we will run it again on an ALBW Live, so everybody will have an opportunity to see it. And at that time, as we did with Janet Lee and her book, Jill and I will be in the studio, as we are now, talking a little bit before we run that interview that we do in Halifax. And afterwards, we'll cut back to Q&A, live Q&A, as we'll be doing just here in a couple of minutes. So those of you who don't make it to Halifax will also have the opportunity to ask questions of Jill. Finally, we will have another floral tribute to Ann Lister on her birthday on Monday morning. That will happen right around 9:30. The guide says 9 o'clock. By the time we're ready to go, it'll probably be closer to 9:30, but please do come. You can bring your own flowers if you like, but it's a great opportunity to show just how much you feel for Ann Lister. Last year's event was a huge success. It was beautiful. Even the pictures I saw, a beautiful floral tribute that was there in Halifax for a while. And also feel free to leave your flowers anytime during the week. That's at the Ann Lister statue in the Peace Hall. Okay. Now, finally, and I need a sip of water, so hold on. I want to talk about another very important part of ALBW. For the 2022 event, we were able to offer 4 scholarships to people who would not normally be able to afford the trip to Halifax or the tickets, et cetera. We're doing that again this year. We will be opening up that scholarship fund sometime probably in the coming week. It'll be on a good GoFundMe site. And I was blown away by your generosity last year. We were hoping to fund 1 or 2 scholarships. We were able to fund 4 full scholarships. And what an amazing thing to be able to do. So please do keep an eye out for that. Your generosity is always appreciated. And I'll be putting in a little pile to get it started. Okay. Finally, I want to thank my entire team for all of the work they've been doing to put these events together. Cheryl McDonald, Jennifer Grant, Janet Lee, Linda Pellegrino, and of course, Rachel Lappin, who's an associate member of ours, is our contact with Calderdale, who does so much work for us, legwork for us in terms of getting things set up. You guys have done a fabulous job. Thanks so much for all the work that you've put on to get this put together. And of course, I also want to thank my production team here today. Once again, Cheryl McDonald, who I would be absolutely lost without, believe me. And our new producer, Jennifer Quigley. Steph Galloway is trying to finish up her master's this year, so she's got her time taken up. And Jennifer Quigley's come on board with us. Really excited about that. She's in Australia, so she's up in the wee hours of the morning right now. So now let's get to some Q&A. Let me see what Cheryl sent me. All right. Now, there is multiple people. Did you say there is a coach only from London to Halifax? Can you book just one way? Yeah, absolutely. You can book just one way. There will be more information about that in the event guide, including a link to that event. The London tour is actually a Diva Destinations tour. We are offering it through our ALBW site in terms of information, but there is a sign-up sheet for that at the link that you'll find in the guide. So make sure you click on that, get the information, and it will also give you the opportunity to sign up for the coach. So again, that guide is going to be on the website when we're done with this ALBW Live, so you can get right to that. Secondly, this is from Jan. Oh, that last one was from multiple people. So this one is from Jan Simons, excuse me. Hey, Pat, is Bankfield going to have the costumes from Gentleman Jack? So let's destroy another myth. You will be able to see some of the costumes from Gentleman Jack. They will have some available. Unfortunately, the exhibit that's there now, which I got to see, and it was really very nice, that had obviously a lot from season 2, the whole exhibit won't be there. Now, it's not because Bankfield doesn't want to, just so you know. Originally, when they booked that exhibit, we were all thinking that those costumes were going to go back for filming for season 3, and that may yet happen. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. But Bankfield schedules their exhibitions, way in advance, and they've got things in that room set up. So it's set to be there. So no, you won't see the entire thing, but you will get to see some of them. So not to worry, that is going to be taken care of. Vera Messina, what date is the Helena Whitbread talk? Take a look in the event guide because I don't have one in front of me because we don't print it. It's all digital. But I believe, Cheryl, do you know what the date is? Can you look that up real quick and come back to that? Just text me the answer. Patricia Book, can we have Madeira at the Mix and Mingle? Well, you certainly can if they've got it there. But we actually are going to have a Madeira tasting at the Minster one night with one of our events. So you'll get an opportunity to taste that, Patricia. And I'm so glad to hear that you're coming back, you and your wife. The Pats are returning to ALBW, all 3 of us. Okay, Amanda Aikman. Will there again be attendee-led workshops? Absolutely, yes. In fact, I would tell you that most of them are attendee-led. So we're always happy to have people reach out and ask us if they can do one, and we're always looking for people with interesting things to talk about. So Jan Lowe, can you buy flowers there? Good question. Rachel Lappin will be able to answer that for us a little bit in advance, and we'll make sure that we get that up on ALBW chat. I think that they were going to try to have some kind of flower cart there last year, but since I wasn't there, I can't remember what happened to it, but we will definitely find out what the story is on that. Cheryl, my indispensable co-leader of ALBW, has come back. Helena is on Saturday, April 1st. So who was it that asked? Vera Messina asked. Saturday, April 1st is the Helena workshop. Okay, now, if you have questions about anything that you've heard here today, you can also send your questions to contact@albweek.com. And Cheryl and I monitor that all the time. We're happy to answer your questions. So please feel free to do that. Cheryl, do you have any other questions for us? See what she answers. I have nothing else coming up right now. There may be some more on there, and I'm going to apologize to anybody we don't get to. it's always interesting to go back to Facebook and read the questions at the end. It's hard for people to do their job behind the screen and get all of them. So, oh, she's got one more. Hold on. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that question to come up, as you can imagine, I'm incredibly excited about being there this year. I'm very excited about being able to see everybody in person, say hello, to thank every single one of you for all the support you gave me over the last year, and it worked. So that's the good news. How do you like my new hair? It's curly. All right. One last question. Suzanne Stangels. Yes. She's asking about the Wakefield Archive, and thank you for reminding me. We will have one coach tour to the Wakefield Archive. What's the reason you want to go to Wakefield, for those of you who aren't familiar, that's actually the main exhibition space, very much larger than what they have available in the Halifax Library space where the archives is. And they have a really wonderful exhibition set up on Ann Lister and Her World. So you'll get to see diaries, etc. Oh, by the way, you will be able to see diaries in Halifax. They will be on display at the Halifax Library. So you'll get to see that. The wonderful archives people, Jenny Wood and Ruth Cummins, are going to make sure that there's some interesting things set up in the archives room. That is a Calderdale event. So you'll be hearing about that via the Calderdale, once again, when Calderdale comes out with their brochure of events. Rachel Lappin has now commented in, this is what I love about this, and she said that we should have flowers. So flower selling at the event where we pay tribute to Ann Lister at the statue. So again, I know I couldn't cover every single event. I'm sorry if I left anybody out, because I certainly didn't mean to. And again, I am so looking forward to seeing all of you. So head to www.albweek.com, and the event guide should now be there for your download. All right. In the meantime, be well. Take good care of yourself. Don't miss any moment of your life, because you never know when it's not going to be there. And I will see you in Halifax.
All the words I write to hide the feelings others can't abide, buried down beneath the light. Is it better to be alone? Command, contain, stride, control. Constant striving takes its toll. I'm compromising as I am. Am I afraid to fall? You're everything they cannot see, a warrior beneath the veil of femininity. The finest china made from bone. You'll be the one to carry me home. We met before, but not like this. You lift my hand in a formal kiss. Why can't I meet your direct gaze? A crowded room demands restraint. I've been warned from the glow, so I need you to take